Hello guys, welcome back to another video about Roblox UI libraries. I was sick, very sick. I was preparing stuff for work, so I wasn't able to record. We're gonna be looking at the slider. So here's our script. Let me scroll down. Yeah, so last time we stopped at the warning and info and label. As you remember, I told you you could just copy paste them. Yeah, we're gonna continue with the slider right here. Function, tab, slider. Bada bing, bada boom, same old story. Also, if I write some semicolons or curly braces, it's probably because I just had a fat dose of TypeScript, so yeah. Yeah, we're just gonna copy paste this right here. Also, my motivation has kind of been lacking, but I'm trying to hold up, you know what I mean? Yeah. So there we go. We're gonna get to the rendering part, and we're gonna do that, and we're gonna go into our thing script, and we're just gonna copy everything that has to do with the slider. So right here, slider, just like that. Copy paste. There you go. Change up library.tree to GUI, actually to tab. My bad. No. Oh, change it to slider. And then what's important that up here in the parenting that you parent it to tab, since we want it to be in the tab. Yeah. So now we're gonna change the title of the slider. So that is right up here, I believe. Yep. We're gonna do options.title and change up the options. So we're gonna have a title. We're gonna have a min value, a max value, and a default value, and a callback, which is just gonna be function and then print. Why are we adding v here? Well, we're gonna be passing the value of the slider to the function in the callback so we can actually use it. Now, after the render, we're gonna add our methods, and we're gonna do function slider set value and function slider get value. Now you could add stuff like slider set name. I'm not gonna do that just to save time. And here we're gonna be taking a value parameter. Okay, so what we're gonna do next is we're gonna get the run service. If you don't already have it, I already have it here because I already recorded this before. And you're also gonna get the viewport, which is just the workspace current camera viewport size. This is to get the screen width, which we'll be needing for the sliding mechanic in math. So we're gonna scroll down here, and first what we're gonna do is we're gonna also go into logic, and we're gonna get the run service. We're gonna do bind to render step. Now we're gonna call this slider, and then something like options.name, I guess. And then the priority is gonna be enum.priority, enum.render priority dot input dot value. There you go. So what this means is just we're gonna be creating a function in here that will run every frame, and the priority is gonna be input. Okay, so that means it's gonna be running at the same like priority as like you moving your mouse, which is basically what you have to do to modify the slider. Okay, so now that we have our function in here, we're gonna be checking if we have to slide it, and if we do, we're gonna be sliding it. Okay, so before this, we're gonna go here and we're gonna see, okay, so the main slider frame is 3A, so we are gonna use this right here, and we're actually gonna do the same thing that we did for the button, so we can actually just copy this. Just copy the entire thing, and we're gonna modify it a little. Now, right here, we're gonna change everything to slider. The only thing we're gonna remove is this, because we don't need a callback. And we're also gonna do this, change everything. Now you're gonna have to change up these values. So as you can see, the main one is 3A and the stroke is 3C. So this is gonna be 3A, 3A, C. So yeah, just change these up and I'll be right back once I change them. Okay guys, so once you've changed them, you're gonna scroll up to the slider table and you're gonna add mouse down is false. And now if we go down, as you can see, we also have the hover, so we're gonna do that as well. Hover equals false. There we go. Now you can remove this because I'm stupid. You don't actually need it, since we're gonna be only dragging it when the mouse is actually down. Okay, so right here we're gonna put this back that we had, so we're gonna put run service. Okay, so to make this easier, we're gonna go back here to the slider table, right, and we're gonna add connection, and it's gonna be nil for now. So then down here we're gonna do if not connection, then if not slider dot connection, sorry. So if it doesn't exist, we're gonna create it. So we're gonna do slider dot connection is equal to run service dot render step connect function, just like so. Okay, so now we're gonna scroll down to the input ended, and once we stop holding the key, right, we just want to do slider.connection disconnect and set it to nil. Now over here we want to add if slider.connection then disconnected, and there you go. So what is this gonna do? Well, when we hold on the slider, it's gonna create a new render stepped event, which is gonna fire every frame, which is gonna allow us to smoothly move the frame. And then once we let go, that connection is gonna get destroyed, which is gonna save us a lot of memory. Okay, so we're gonna test this out right now by putting print and being dragged. So then yeah, we're just gonna create the slider right here. Local slider is equal to tab slider, and then just gonna leave this empty for now. So we're gonna press, actually before I press play, I'm gonna disable this and then I'm gonna test it. Okay, so as you can see, our slider is here, and now we're gonna hold, being dragged, stop, hold, being dragged, stop. So now there are a few things we have to change here, right? So the button has the effect that we want, but the slider, this isn't, well, this, as you can see, this here, the game gets kind of laggy once I hold this, because I'm getting a ton of prints. But don't worry, it won't be lagging unless you're doing something intense. But anyway, what I was saying is, as you can see, it looks kind of ugly, so we're gonna have to change up the colors here, and I'm gonna do that right now. So as we could see, the slider's stroke should change, and this thing as well. So I'm gonna scroll up here and I'm gonna find the stroke, which is this right here, 42. So I'm also going to be changing it right here. Just going to copy this and set it to 42. And this right here. Also this. So these are all just the normal stroke, and I'm just duplicating the effect for the slider stroke. So right here. And right here. So what would be smarter is that you have like states which hold these properties, so you could just loop through them and like change it there once, you know. But just for the sake of this tutorial, I'm not doing that. So what I'm also going to change is the color of this gray thing, like the sliding part. So that part is this thing right here, 43, and I'm just always going to change the background color of it. Now I'm actually going to change the background color of it to be the same as the stroke, so it's 43, and we're going to do background color 3. Just going to copy it everywhere. Okay, so once you changed up all the colors, you're going to test it again. So as you can see, once I hover, this looks way better, and once I click, it actually like looks decent now. So what I'm gonna do next is the sliding mechanic. But first, we're gonna set the default value to the default value of the options. So at the value text right here, we're gonna set it to string options.default. Okay, so now it's actually time for the dragging mechanic. So inside of set value, we're gonna also handle the drag mechanic. So right here I have the Mercury GitHub, and I'm gonna copy paste the math because I honestly don't know what it is. I don't even know if I made the slider. Maybe it was abstract, but if it was me, I was playing around with it. So I'm gonna search slider right there, and we're gonna scroll down to the logic part right here. So as you can see, we have this percentage which uses the mouse position. We're gonna get the mouse and we're gonna rename it first. Now the slider bar, I'm pretty sure that is the slider 3.8, so we're gonna replace that just like so, and we're gonna scroll all the way up. We're gonna get our local player, and we're gonna get our mouse from the local player. So if we further examine the source right here, so here we have the percentage, and then here we have the value. So we're gonna copy this as well. So options.max, options.min, and we're gonna clamp this entire thing, floor, because I do it here like this for some reason. Then we're gonna set the value text to the value. So the value is slider 3f, I believe. Yeah. Slider 3f text is equal to string value. There we go. Now we have this percentage. So if you couldn't tell, what we're gonna do with it is we're gonna be using it to resize the frame. So we're gonna take our draggable thing, which is this right here. So slider 43 dot size is equal to udim2 dot from offset percentage 1. Now imagine the percentage is 50%, it's going to be 0.5. And if we put 0.5 in the scale, my bad, this should be scale. If we put 0.5 in the scale, it's going to be 50% or half. So yeah, that should do it. Now, as you can see, we still have this v parameter. So what we're going to do is we're going to do if v is not equal to nil, whoops, JavaScript, we're going to put this in here. Then it has to be nil. So if we don't provide a value, then it will just set the value to the mouse position, right? So right here where we have being dragged, we're going to do slider set value, just like this. Now here we're going to do else. What the fuck is happening? So if we do have a value provided, so we're going to set the text to the value v right there. Okay, so after we set the text, we actually have to set the size. So right in here, we have the set method, and as you do, we're just gonna copy this and set the size of the 43 to be that. And we're gonna set v min. Now, trust me, I have no idea what this formula does, but I just came up with it somehow while I was making Mercury, which took a lot of headache, which I'm going to save you just by giving you this. So just copy it right here, pause the video. And also right here, I have changed it to 40 from 3a because 40 references this long line right here, and 3a references this entire thing, which we don't want, okay? So so there you go, that is that. Now we have the get value, and here we're just gonna do return to number slider 3f dot text, just like so. So there's one more thing that we have to do before we continue to debugging, and that is to call the callback. So inside of set value, we're also going to do options dot callback slider get value. That. And yeah, here we go. So we're going to test this right away. So the slider is right here. If I hold it and drag it, there you go, the value is increasing, 100, 0, and yeah, so that's it. That's our slider, very simple. So what you could do with this is, say you have your library all the way at the top, you could do something like flags, right? Or not flags, flags is for booleans. You could do something like I don't know, like values, and then you could have like health, and then you could set this and you could just access it from anywhere in your main script. So yeah, that's how you make a slider, guys. This video won't be quite long, although actually it might just be 20 minutes like all the others, but this is where I'm gonna end the video. Now, one more thing before I continue, I'm gonna create another button, and we're gonna make the callback a function to set the slider's value to 0. So if I press this, it turns to 0. We get a callback with 0, and we can drag it back. There you go. Now just remove the print from wherever it is. Oh, it's actually just the default callback, so that's fine. So yeah, there you go. Now let me just try something right here, and we're gonna do options is equal to options, and we're just gonna pass that inside the slider object. Now you could technically just set the value to the sliders, options dot min value or max value or whatever. So if we do min right here, it should set it to the minimum value that was assigned to the slider. So if I click this, boom, 0 minimum value. There you go. That's it. So guys, that was the video for today. It was just the slider because that's all I had time for. In the next video, which is probably going to be tomorrow, hopefully, I really want to finish this series. I know that you guys want to finish your library. So tomorrow I'm actually going to be doing the toggle, because that's just way quicker and easier to do. And then finally we're going to be tackling the drop down and some other stuff like dragging the window and the exit thing. And yeah, after that the series is going to be over, but then I'll probably move on to something more advanced using meta tables and like loaders, like preloading stuff using images, etc. And color pickers definitely. So yeah, yeah, I hope this was helpful, and my throat is sore. Goodbye.